Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again today. Really happy to see you all. So today we're gonna talk about a very delicate topic for some. I'm gonna ask you a question. What is anxiety for you? How do you define it? If we Google it, we find a feeling of fear. So I guess for everyone it's different. People with anxiety experience different feelings. And today I want to share my experience with you, my anxiety story.
Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me.
So in the past few years, I've kind of started to know myself again, meaning that after I discovered that I was suffer of anxiety. I think you start learning yourself more, and your understanding of yourself, it becomes better and better over time. I've started to realizing to suffer of anxiety back in 2019. It was in the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. And for me, it's just started from nowhere, literally nowhere. I never had, any kind of problems with that. And it started really strange. I mean, I remember one day I was just laying on the bed, and I've just seen a few rashes on my body. And I remember that day I bought a lobster. I've tried to do boiled seafoods, but it didn't came out really good. But yeah, I remember that I made that, and the same night I've had few rashes on my body. So I said, I'm probably allergic to seafood then, because what's going on with my skin? You might think, what's got to do anxiety with fish and with, say, seafood boils? But if you stay with me, you will know. Right, so yeah, that day, rashes, and then when I woke up, they magically disappeared. And the second day, the third day, the same thing. And I was trying to find out, like, why do I get these rashes? And obviously with the, everybody know that back then, it was impossible to see a GP or to speak with a doctor, or even in the hospital. Yeah, it was impossible to see someone. So I was doing some researches online. That's the only place that I could find some answers. So yeah, I was to myself, yeah, probably I'm allergic to seafood. So I stopped to... Okay. Alright, good. Yeah, no, but I don't want the camera to, run out.
You tried it by this one?
No.
You sure?
I tried, yeah. So yeah, that night I said to myself, no, you know what, I must be allergic to seafood boil. But then I stopped to eat seafood, and then they were coming back, but they were only few, you know. And then the week passed by, and the rashes, they were getting more and more and more, and I couldn't see my GP, and I was getting so worried. I was like, what is going on with my skin? And then I remember one day I was sleeping. You know when you half asleep that you woke up like you're about to wake up, yeah. And I started to feel my lip was big, it was massive, it was swollen. And I got so worried. I said to myself, I must be allergic to something for causing me this allergic reaction. And I was panicking, because I said to myself, okay, what am I doing? I'm going to the hospital, because if I'm having allergic reaction, my tongue is gonna swell up and I'm gonna die. Like, I'm gonna die here by myself, because I was by myself that day. So yeah, I went to the hospital. they said to me, oh, they check, general checks, and they said, oh, you must be allergic to something, right? So came back home, the next day the same thing, the next day again the same thing. Every day was getting worse and worse and worse. So then I've managed to contact my GP, but the GP couldn't see me, so he prescribed me, no, actually, he didn't prescribe me anything at that time. He said to me, oh, I will refer you to the for the allergy test. And obviously with the pandemic it was impossible, so then I've started to really panicking. And I remember that one day I was in my room, and at some point I felt, when I say I felt, it's because I felt it. It was there. I felt something from my stomach, like a ball, like a ball, like this. I felt from my stomach to my throat here. I felt something, that it was there and it was stuck there, and I couldn't breathe. So at that point I've started to panic. I said, oh my god, I'm dying here. This allergic reaction, nobody's helping me, I'm dying. So I left the house and I went to the closest pharmacy next to me. I went there and I started crying my eyes out, because I nobody was helping me. So every day it was the same thing, me trying to Google what was going on with me and trying to get help from someone. After a week I've managed to actually see a GP, and she said to me, oh, I can help you with the rashes. She gave me some antihistaminic, but very very low dosage, that it didn't help me at all. So I went back and they gave me steroids tablet, which helped, but as soon as I came off of that, they came back. So I don't remember much, but the only thing that I remember is me going many times to the hospital and trying to get help, and unfortunately that time I didn't get help, because they couldn't, find anything wrong at that time for me to stay in the hospital. So then obviously, like after 2 or 3 weeks, I said to myself, okay, the allergy clinic is not calling me back from the NHS. I will need to go privately and find out if I'm allergic to something, what is going on, if I'm eating something that makes my skin react like this, why I can't breathe. Maybe I'm actually allergic to something. Anyway, I'm going to this clinic, which was in Harley Street. I've done the allergy test, the blood test, which costed a fortune. And guess what? I wasn't allergic to anything. Imagine that. Yeah, I was not allergic to one single thing. And after that, it was just like, what am I doing? Like, if it's not something that I'm eating or something topical that I'm washing my face with or my body with, like what it could be. So I found this specialist, always in Harley Street, and I booked an appointment and I've seen this specialist, and basically he said to me, oh, there is no cure for this. This is called chronic urticaria, which basically does not have cure, but you can control it with a very high dosage of antihistamine medication. Obviously I broke down, because I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna continue for the rest of my life with these 4 tablets per day, which they made me very sleepy. And he said that there is no cause. It could be for many different reasons, but the reason, the most commonly reason, is stress related. Your body and your mind they are like puzzle. If something is wrong here, somehow will affect your body too. So anyway, I've started this antihistamine medications 4 times a day. I was taking fexofenadine 180 times 4, which it didn't help at the beginning, but you know, after like a week, it started to work. The sensation in my throat, it was still there, so I was still worried. The skin problem was partially resolved, but the main issue now was the sensation. It was 24/7, every day, every hour. I was waking up at night thinking about that sensation. I wasn't be able I wasn't be able to do anything else other than thinking about that sensation. And when I say anything else, I wasn't eating. I lost a lot of weight in a few months back then, and I couldn't think of anything else, anything. So these thoughts, they were just more and more, like every day they were just there. I couldn't think or couldn't do anything. I was doing my foundation for nursing in college, and I couldn't even write a piece of assignment because I couldn't think. I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, and went back to my GP, and he said, "Oh, probably it's asthma." He done some tests, and he said, "Okay, I'll give you these two inhalators, and then let's see how it goes." But obviously, these two inhalators, they didn't help because I don't have asthma. So yeah, I was completely lost. You know, at some point, this sensation, it really had an impact in my mental health. I started sleeping all day to don't think about the sensation. I stopped eating, and bear in mind, this was the very first lockdown that we couldn't travel, we couldn't do anything. So yeah, then yeah, one time I even went to the hospital, and it was as I was saying, it was the COVID time. They said to me, "Oh, you will need to go in this room, and the doctor will talk with you over the phone." And the doctor said to me, "Oh, you have COVID because you have rashes of COVID." Because at some point they were saying that the COVID give you rashes, but the COVID tests, they were always come back negative. The rashes, they were really itchy. At first they were really red. I will show you some picture. They were really red, and then like after a few days they turn purple. Then one day I managed to speak with my mom over the phone. She lives back in my country, and she said, "I don't think it's anything related of an allergy or anything wrong with your body, but I think it's up here. Something was going on up here, you know." And she was actually the first person to clock that something was wrong. You know, I think the best person that knows you the best is your mom, you know. Regardless what kind of relationship you have with your parent, they always know you more than anybody else. So yeah, I remember that one day I decided, okay, or I'm gonna die here in this bed, or I'm gonna actually act and do something. So I remember that day I booked the flight back to my country. Flying back to my country, I see, like, when I remember what I've done, I remember everything in black and white. There is no colors on my memories. I don't remember how I got there in the airport. I don't remember how I did the check-in to go through all of those luggages and all of that. I don't remember, but I remember that the plane was full of people, and I had three young people behind me that were chatting and chatting like all the plane, the flight duration, and my head was like, why me? Why? And I was laying on the 3 seats. I was laying there, and yeah, I got there, and when I actually went in my mom's place, it was, she knew what was going on, and I refused to accept it at first because I thought that it was some you know, a body, in relation to the body, not the mind. So yeah, when I got there, she said to me, I'm gonna take you in to someone that I know. So she knew this psychiatrist, and I've just sat down with her and I explained the way I felt, and she took 2 seconds to, you know, prescribe antidepressant. So you see, in that case, I felt like I needed it, and it really helped. So yeah, like I was prescribed a lot of medication for anxiety, but then even with that, the anxiety didn't go away. The sensation was there and continued to be there for like every day, at least for like after 2 years. So it was really hard, and I was like, do I need to live with this pain of this sensation that I can't breathe for the rest of my life? Is it really worth to go through all of this and all this pain? For what reason? And you know, my mom suffered of this too for the past 20 years. So she knew better, and she said, no, don't worry, this will go away eventually. And that was the truth. It was consistent every day for from the when happened, from when that happened, it was consistent for 2 years, and then it's just stopped. But when I'm comfortable and uncomfortable, sometimes till now, I still have this sensation, but I guess you learn to live with it, and it doesn't really have to be a bad thing, because this is a way that your body and your mind is telling you what's good for you and what is not good for you. So it's like an alarm, if you want to call it like that. It's a natural thing that comes from you that not tell you, but advise you what to do, basically. Yeah, it was really hard. I really hope that this video helped someone to find some answers, and thanks for watching.